Mr. Abraham Mendy, Ania Brown, representative of the EU delegation in the Gambia, Mr. Sieni Sise, representative of the UNDP, Mr. Amlai Koli, representing the NSA, distinguished participants, Director General of Prisons and Commissioners, Directors of NHRC and staff, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media, I have the singular honor and pleasure to welcome you to this program. The NHRC Act of 2017 mandated the Commission to promote and protect human rights and fundamental freedoms in the Gambia. You would also recall that the TRRC recommendations and the government-wide paper on the implementation of the recommendations actually elaborated the issues of prison under its institutional reform, which forms part of the broader SSR in the Gambia. You will also recall a lot has been done at the prisons. I've been there myself once upon a time as a director of administration. Nevertheless, a lot more needs to be done to achieve the desired reforms by all stakeholders. We are gathered here today on the auspicious occasion of this capacity building for the Gambia Prison Service on the promotion and protection of human rights in the Gambia Prison Service. This is a 3 days program consisting 2 batches amounting to 15 personnel from the Gambia Prison Service. And the essence is to sensitize the officers on integration of human rights and human rights issues in their operations. Without much ado, I now call upon our Honorable Commissioner, Njungu Tame, to come forward and deliver the welcome remarks. Honorable Commissioner, you are welcome.
Representative of the EU delegation in the Gambia, the representative of the National Security Advisor, Mr. Sise from the UNDP, representing the UNDP rep, and my very dear brother and friend, the Director General of the Gambia Prison Services, Mr. Mane. Officers, men and women of the Gambia Prison Service, my colleagues from the National Human Rights Commission, the media here. Thank you. As they would say, my task is not a very big one. I'm here to welcome all of you. At the NHRC, we are very happy to see all of you here. To know that all of you, like us at the National Human Rights Commission, very much committed to human rights, to the promotion and protection of human rights in this country. And so that is why we are here, to discuss human rights, to discuss human rights in the prisons, to talk about the human rights of prisoners, but also to talk about the human rights of prison officers. Because we cannot talk about rights of prisoners without also talking about the rights of the men and women who provide them that protection within the confines of the prison. But as said by the Executive Secretary, we are here because once upon a time, not everything was all right in the Garden of Eden. And we all know what had happened in that garden once upon a time. And so, in fulfillment of that mantra, never again, that is why we are here, to ensure that the prisons is also a place that is good for everybody. Human rights is the foundation of everything. It is on human rights that human development is built, and it's also on human rights that human security is also pursued. I'm sure all of you we remember Kofi Annan, and once upon a time he said, we cannot enjoy development without security. We cannot enjoy security without development, but we cannot enjoy either without respect for human rights. So meaning that development without respect for human rights, or security without respect for human rights, would only tantamount to chaos, as they would say. And all of us who have read the preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights could see it there. Why ultimately, because of violations of human rights, that there was actually big chaos in the world. I mean, the Second World War. So human rights is about human dignity, and dignity is not given to anybody. We have dignity because we are human beings, and so we are talking about rights of prisoners, and we'll be talking about rights of prisoners because they are human beings and therefore entitled to dignity and dignified treatment within the confines of the prisons. I would share one or two quotes with you, and that probably would also show the importance of the work we are doing. I read this quote by Nelson Mandela, and maybe tomorrow we will talk about the Nelson Mandela rules and why those rules were actually named after Mandela. But this is what Mandela said. It is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jail. A nation should be judged not by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest. And yeah, our humanity would be questioned, so to speak, by how we treat those who are powerless, by how we treat those who cannot, by virtue of the situation they find themselves, I mean prisoners, who can't do anything for themselves unless they are helped by people. And the other quote I read yesterday, somebody said it, I can't remember who it was, but he said, people who are detained or imprisoned do not cease to be human beings, no matter how serious the crime of which they have been accused or convicted. The court of law or other judicial agency that dealt with their cases decreed that they should be deprived of their liberty, but not that they should forfeit their humanity. And so this is for you men and women of the prisons. And I am very sure that in the 3 days that you would spend here interacting with our resource persons and engaging in interactive discussions, we would come to agree that to be in prison doesn't mean that one has forfeited his or her humanity or should not be accorded the dignified treatment that he or she deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I want to, I think it was Albert Einstein who said, if I am seeing further than others, it's because I am standing on the shoulders of giants. And so I say this, that if the NHRC is able to organize this workshop, if we are able to do better within 5 years of our existence, it's because we are also standing on the shoulders of giants. And so in this instance, we want to recognize and appreciate the great effort of UNDP through the great project to this workshop. But we also want to recognize sincerely the great support of the EU delegation in the Gambia. It has been one of the most steadfast partners of the National Human Rights Commission. I think it's also because we share a common vision, a Gambia where the fundamental human rights of everybody is respected, protected, and fulfilled. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and so welcome to this workshop.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, the Vice Chairperson or the Commissioner Drame of the National Human Rights Commission, Madam Enya from the EU, the Director General from the Gambia Prison Service, the National Security Advisor, represented by Mulai, esteemed colleagues from the UNDP, the honored trainees, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. On behalf of the resident representative of the United Nations Development Program, Madam Mandisha Masalogu, I would like to present this opening statement to you all. It is both a privilege and a profound responsibility to address you today at the commencement of this vital training program focused on the promotion and protection of human rights within the Gambia Prison Service. We gather here at a pivotal moment in our nation's history, not only to reaffirm our commitment to upholding human rights standards, but to embed these principles at the very core of our prison systems. The findings from the TRRC hearings have highlighted a historical context in which systemic issues within the Gambia prison services contributed to human rights abuses and erosion of dignity, as just highlighted by Mr. Drame. And so addressing these historical challenges requires a collaborative effort from all stakeholders, including the government, civil society, and international partners, and even the communities, so that we can create a framework that promotes accountability, respect for human rights, and sustainable reform within the Gambia prison system. This training program is not just a procedural requirement, it's not just ticking the box. It is a transformative journey towards establishing a culture of respect, accountability, and restoration. It is about you, and Mr. Drame has articulated this, each one of you, as the pillars of this change. As we engage in this training over the next few days, I implore you to embrace your roles as champions of human rights. You are the frontline agents who will lead the charge in rehabilitating our prisons and fostering an environment free from fear and violence. The principles of human dignity, rehabilitation, justice must guide your actions and your decisions on a daily basis. Let me take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the EU delegation for their generous funding of our flagship project, which is the EU-grade UNDP grade initiative. Your continued support and cooperation have been invaluable to our efforts in implementing essential reforms in the Gambia prison system and advancing human rights efforts throughout the nation, as highlighted by the Executive Secretary. Moreover, I would like to commend the National Human Rights Commission for their exemplary work and dedication in promoting and protecting human rights in the Gambia. NHRC's ongoing collaboration with UNDP has been crucial in our shared mission to foster a culture of respect for human rights, and we remain steadfast in our commitment to this strategic partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, as we pursue our objectives, it is essential to align our efforts with the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly goal number 16, which aims to promote peaceful and inclusive societies, ensure access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable institutions at all levels. By investing in the capacity building of our prison service, we are taking significant steps towards fulfilling our commitment under the SDGs and the Recovery-Focused National Development Plan, which emphasizes respect for human rights as a cornerstone of national recovery and development. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on our collective responsibility, I would like to share an impactful quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, an American political figure, a diplomat, and an activist. She was the wife of Franklin Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who says, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places close to home?" So as you reflect on this quote effectively reminds us that human rights begins with you, within the walls of our prisons, where individuals are often at their most vulnerable, as articulated by the Executive Secretary. Your commitment to promoting and protecting these rights is essential, not only for the individuals you serve, but also for the broader aspirations of a more just and humane society in the Gambia. So let us move forward with the knowledge that every effort you make here is a step toward healing our nation and ensuring that the dark chapters of our past do not define our future. Together, we can build a prison system that reflects the values of respect, dignity, and human rights for everyone. Thank you for your dedication, and I wish you a fruitful and enlightening training experience. Thank you very much.
Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Mendy. Commissioner Drame from the National Human Rights Commission, UNDP Head of Governance, Mr. Cisse, representative of the National Security Advisor, Mr. Kohli, ladies and gentlemen, prison service staff, National Human Rights Commission team, members of the press, good morning. On behalf of the EU Ambassador, Her Excellency Ima Roca y Cortes, who could not join us this morning as she's presenting her letters of credence, it is an honor to stand before you at the opening of this capacity building program for the Gambia Prison Service. This training, focusing on the promotion and protection of human rights, represents an important component of our collective efforts to support governance and uphold human rights within the country's prison system. Human rights apply to all, including individuals in detention. The European Union remains committed to supporting initiatives that promote a humane and rights-respecting environment in prisons. In Europe, we see how a transformative human rights training for prison staff can be. In 2022, over 30,000 European prison officers underwent human rights training. This has led to an improved conditions for detainees and enhanced staff capacity to manage prisons more humanely. We commend the Gambia in recognizing the importance of this, amidst, of course, the myriad of other priorities of the security sector, to help Gambian prison officers uphold the dignity and rights of all of those in custody, in line with the principles of the Mandela Rules, which Commissioner Drame mentioned in his speech. The European Union has been a long-standing partner in the Gambia's governance reforms. Through our collaboration with the national and international partners, such as the National Human Rights Commission, the Ministry of Interior, UNDP, of course, we are committed to ensuring that human rights are a core principle in every aspect of governance, especially within the justice and security sectors. This training program aligns with the recommendations of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, which highlighted the need for prison reforms to address past violations and prevent future abuse. We commend the efforts of the Gambia Prison Service and the National Human Rights Commission in spearheading these reforms, and we are proud to support these initiatives through our joint programs. We would also like to note the latest National Human Rights Commission's annual status report, which was validated end of last week, on the implementation of the white paper, which highlights the need for improvements of the prison staff conditions. This is an important recognition, and we believe the government will hear this. This is especially close to my heart as I had the opportunity to visit Mile 2 back in 2017 and saw both the conditions of the detainees, but also the prison staff who work often in complicated surroundings. Human rights violations in prisons often affect minorities differently, and the training will cover aspects of handling gender-based violence. In the session, I believe that will be given by FLAG. We encourage all participants to ensure that the specific needs of female detainees, the aged detainees, and persons with disabilities are fully integrated into prison policies. And that will be especially in the talk tomorrow by Yvonne Masarawa-Kufa. Anyway, in closing, I wish to thank you all for your commitment to improving the prison system in the Gambia. The journey ahead is undoubtedly long, but with your dedication, I trust the Gambia will continue to build a prison system that respects all human dignity. Thank you very much.
The National Security Advisor, Deputy Director General of Gambia Prison Service, commissioners and entire staff, participants, members of the print and digital media, all other protocols respectfully observed. Good morning. It gives me a great honor and privilege to deliver this statement at the official launching of 6 days NHRC Gambia Prison Service organized retreat for 50 prison officers on application of local and international legal frameworks on human rights and matters that border on prison mandate, opportunities, and challenges. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this retreat on human rights training could not have come at a better time when the Gambia Prison Service is actively seeking closer collaboration with stakeholders to address challenges associated with human rights capacity, constraints identified through various assessments, that's the SSR and the TRRC, just to name but a few. Although challenges facing the Gambia Prison Services are not new and can be linked to so many interrelated factors. Furthermore, primary challenges facing the Gambia Prison Services are traceable to continued reliance on colonial legal instruments, such as the Gambia Prisons Act 18th of 1953, the lack of a dedicated professional training school for prison officers, a multi-purpose rehabilitation center for inmates, the relic infrastructure, and the acute shortage of security and surveillance equipment. It is our considered view that efforts geared towards addressing these challenges cannot be realized in the absence of developing and delivering context-specific training-based solutions. It is from this perspective that Gambia Prison Service Management, in collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission, developed carefully selected modules for delivery during these training sessions. The modules have been developed to address deep-seated capacity challenges at the Gambia Prison Services, especially on human rights principles. While we recognize the needs for addressing numerous capacity challenges, Gambia Prison Service continue to suffer high attrition rates, mostly to sister security forces. Numerous assessments conducted by the stakeholders, notably the UNDP, UNODC, and Office of the National Security, has confirmed serious capacity gaps at the Gambia Prison Services. The recent concluded TRRC hearing have confirmed the needs for professional training for prison officers. Therefore, this training aims to address 1. Perennial institutional capacity challenges that continue to hold back progress in compliance to national and international and human rights obligations in relation to the management of prisons and prison systems. 2. To raise awareness and create knowledge and understanding of responsibilities and accountabilities of prison officers in applying international and national legal and regulatory frameworks designed to safeguard respect and dignity of inmates. 3. Build capacity of prison officers in dealing with matters of international accords with direct bearing on detention of a child offender, role and mandate of the Gambia Prison Service, dynamic security in prisons, introduction to human rights and rule of law, especially Nelson Mandela rules, the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act 2023, international human rights law, as well as others. 4. To create a platform for the development of institution-wide codes of conduct that conforms to the applicable international and national instrument on general human rights specific human rights of prisoners and safeguard against enforced labor and other relevant instruments in the prison's environment. 5. to eradicate physical abuse of prisoners in all its manifestations within the prison system by creating a culture of best practices that are anchored on enlightenment, knowledge awareness, and application of relevant international and national legal and regulatory instruments. With this remark, I would like to express gratitude to the National Human Rights Commission, the United Nations Development Program, the European Union, the Office of the National Security, and the Ministry of Interior for their invaluable support. Even equally, I would like to also express gratitude to the entire staff and my management for their tireless effort in meeting staff training needs. It is my fervent hope that participants in this training will gain awareness and job-specific knowledge fundamental to performance improvement and general preparedness for the implementation of recommendations of numerous reports. I thank you all.
Prison service and the commissioners. On behalf of National Security Officer, it is an honor for me this morning to give a statement on this important capacity building for the government prison service on the promotion and protection of human rights. And this program is jointly organized by the National Human Rights Commission and the UNDP to further strengthen the capacity of the prison officers with the needed skills on human rights and freedom of both officers and inmates. I wish to convey my sincere appreciation to the Gambia Prison Service for the invitation extended to the Office of National Security. And the Office of National Security is the office that coordinates the affairs of national security in Gambia. And when we talk about national security, anything that has to do with security. And when this office was formed, the mandate or the function was to look at what are the gaps within the security institution. And we came up with 5 thematic areas. And one of the thematic areas is to look into specific needs of security institutions, which include the prison services. And today we are gathered here also to look into those gaps that were highlighted and see how best we are able to move forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, since the introduction of the SSR in 2017, the Gambia government has continued to support the process which set parameters necessary to remove legitimate security functions through reforms and institutional development. As we speak now, if you look at the reform process in the Gambia, a lot has been done. And the most important thing is the mindset. And we have seen a departure from what we call a regime-centered to people-centered. And now the processes that are involved in the exercise of the security in the Gambia is guided by laws and international standards. In today's fast-paced world, the need for continuous upgrade your capacity and skills is more critical than ever. This workshop provides you with a valuable opportunity to sharpen your abilities and learn new techniques and harness your full potential. I know with the experience tutors you're going to have here, they're going to expose to various standards of human rights and international standards. As you embark on this journey, I encourage each of you to approach this training with an open mind and a willingness to learn, to embrace change. And one thing that is not constant in life is change. Take the opportunity and share the knowledge, engage with your peers and ask questions. Most importantly, apply what you learn here. It's not enough to learn what they're going to give you here, but what's important is to share and apply when you go back to your office. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the rapidly changing and complex nature of national, regional, and global security environment, security remains the responsibility of all citizens, residents, and global partners. Therefore, our office remains support from the SSR partners, particularly the National Human Rights Commission, and takes this opportunity to convey the most profound appreciation for the assistance rendered over the years. And we reaffirm our commitment to ongoing cooperation with the other stakeholders. And finally, I would like to thank the UNDP and other partners present here for demonstrating key interest in exercise, which is central in the ongoing exercise, and for the express of commitment to consolidate the national security aspirations. And before I conclude, I just want to have a reflection of membership here. I know we are about 25, and the average work experience of you is about 20, if I'm right. Now, 20 by 25, that's about 500 of work experience put in this hall. And with that, think about that. 500 of work experience put in this single hall. If we can able to share our experience together, we're able to reflect on our mistakes that we had before. We're able to go back and see this is where it went wrong, and this is where we can make it better. I believe this training will be very important for that. And I thank you for kind attention, and God bless the people of the country. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. The Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Commissioner Njundu Drame, Director General, Gambia Prison Services, the representative of UNDP, my brother, Seni Sise, the representative of EU, my sister Enya, Director Mulai Koli, my brother, senior prison officers here present, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be with you today, representing the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, who has assigned me to deliver this statement on his behalf. I am pleased to represent the ministry at the launch of this 6-day retreat on human rights training for prison officers, jointly organized by the National Human Rights Commission, the Gambia Prison Services, and funded by United Nations Development Program. The theme for the retreat borders on matters of general human rights concerns, with a specific bearings on the introduction of human rights and the rule of law instruments. The Gambia is a party to both global, regional, and other instruments. And therefore we are obliged to respect the fundamental human rights of everyone. Chapter 5 of the 1997 Constitution, the Children's Act 2005 on detention of a child offender, dynamic security in prison, the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act 2023, international human rights and humanitarian law, as well as others, of which all of us are a party to and we are obliged to respect. The theme resonates with the mission-specific goals of the current dispensation that seeks to enhance democratic pluralism and effective state machinery functioning, and to ensure that constitutional obligation of government institutions are observed without fear or favor, ill will or affection. However, it became a prerequisite for the current government to establish provisional structures to coordinate and galvanize donor support for the full-fledged establishment of supplementary good governance institutions that together constitute the cornerstone of our newfound democracy. Among the key foremost institutions arose on the heels of institutional reform, where the security sector reform, the Truth and Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC, and the constitutional review. Pro-democracy reform and policy pronouncements embarked upon by the current government. The Barrow administration, since its inception in 2017, seeks to strengthen the institutional capacity of government, the government to adequately meet its national and international obligation on democratic pluralism, amplification of human rights, dispensation and good governance, and the respect for the rule of law. As an offshoot of its reform profile or portfolio, the government launched the security sector reform, herein referred to as SSR, as a precursor to the creation of the Office of National Security at the Office of the President. Consequently, the ongoing SSR seeks to transform the component of our security sector into civilian accountable institutions that operates within the ambit of the law as dictated by the relevant of the 1997 Constitution. As the ministry which is tasked with internal security and the custodian of 5 prominent security institutions, that is the Gambia Police Force, the Gambia Immigration Department, Gambia Fire and Rescue Services, the Prison Services, and the League. The Ministry of Interior is instrumental in the formation of SSR and the Office of National Security. In pursuit of the realization of SSR goal, the Office of National Security conducted a capacity need assessment of the Gambia Prison Services, the results of which dictate significant human capacity gap among prison officers. Furthermore, the proceedings at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission revealed that there is that need to strengthen human rights issues and address other challenges at the prisons department. Moreover, the need for institutional reform have been elaborated and recognized through numerous studies and assessment by development partners. However, institutional reforms are more pronounced for the Gambia Prison Services, given the gross human rights violations that have been allegedly committed by prison officers against inmates. As policymakers, the government of the Gambia came up with a series of transitional programs designed to identify institutional capacity gaps and challenges and provide solutions through adaptive approach. It is from that perspective that the Ministry of Interior, through the Gambia Prison Services, consult with United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC, to repeal the Gambia Prison Service Act of 1953. Following the due consultation, UNODC hired a consultant in the persons of Mr. Jeso to draft the Gambia Prison Service Bill 2021. The bill has been drafted by the consultant and validated by stakeholders. It has been submitted to the Attorney General's Chamber for review and onward submission to the Cabinet before it will be tabled to the National Assembly. And this bill seeks to establish a new prison act that eloquently addresses the capacity expectations, the human rights concerns, and the rehabilitation of inmates through market-oriented hand-on skills. Beside the bill, intend to establish a legal instrument and a mandate that stimulate responsiveness of the prison management, administration, and governance structure, processes and procedure to diverse issues that borders on human rights, good governance, preservation of the rights to dignified living and self-determination. Therefore, it is our considered view that the prison reform has to start with the repeal of the Act to allow for the establishment of new mandate that sufficiently constitute to address public and human capacity expectations. Thus, we are convinced that training based on solution can be instrumental in the change management process, avoiding the overhaul of deeply entrenched and outdated organizational culture and practices that are not aligned with the new global order and best practice for prison management. On that note, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Gambia Prison Services for its foresight and fortitude in preparing the ground for the far-reaching reform. Equally, I would like to thank the National Human Rights Commission for their collaborative efforts with UNDP and EU delegation for being one of the most reliable partners of the Gambia government, and in particular, for the funding for this training program. I also wish to register the Ministry's unwavering commitment to strengthening institutional capacity of the Gambia Prison Services. And I would like to reassure the UNDP and EU delegation and other development partners of our continued resolve to strengthening the facets of criminal justice delivery in the Gambia. Finally, I remain optimistic that this 6-day retreat on human rights training will avail participants the opportunity to gather knowledge, share with others who are not here, and understand and appreciate the application of international and national human rights and the fundamental rights and freedom of all of us. On that note, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, I would like to declare this retreat open. Thank you.